This is our house, which we are renovating to make our home. My name is Orion, this is Jess and Benji, and Lilia is now 3 months old. Since birth, we have ripped this house apart, rewired it, did some plumbing, and moved in the space of approximately a month. So if you're interested in learning how to do things around the house, DIY, renovation, all the above, then make sure you hit subscribe to follow along every single Wednesday and Sunday to see us turn this house into a home. In today's vlog, we continue our progress in the bedroom, creating a custom desk for Jess. As last time, we made some good progress using CLS as well as plywood to sandwich together the desk itself. We have got this plywood divider in the middle so we can create some drawers later on, but in today's vlog, I'm going to be creating shelves in this little cubby hole all the way up. You'll also notice from the last video, I have got some sockets in there ready for Jess to hook up a computer and a monitors and all that kind of good stuff. But today, hopefully, we can get all the shelves built in here because I want a couple of shelves up this wall, as well as one big one along the top and mounting Jess's monitor and starting to get things hooked up. Now, what I've done here isn't pretty and it's very, very basic. I've just pinned a piece of scrap wood to the wall so I'm not screwing loads into the wall. And then I've just added a couple of sockets here, as well as the Ethernet socket that hardwires into the router. So she's got Ethernet ports right at her desk. What I'm thinking I'm going to do today is actually add a circular hole here with an access point underneath, because Jess doesn't really want her PC on show. I did consider mounting it to the wall or even adding a shelf for it to sit on up here. But considering that she never really touches it other than to turn it on, it makes more sense for it to go under the desk there, raised off the carpet for helping with like ventilation and stuff like that. I think we actually have a tray for it to sit on anyway, but it's going to go under there. So instead of using the corner that I've kind of wired in there to add in the sockets, I'm going to actually add an access like circular thing. You probably see them at colleges and on office desks and stuff like that. But it allows Jess to kind of take sockets or plugs in and out of the desk rather than it all being kind of tied into the corner there where it's going to be a bit of a pain to get in and out. Now I realize this is not pretty at all, but I may actually end up adding like a little cupboard door here so you can hide it away, open a door if you need to access any of the sockets and stuff like that, but it's just there to kind of ends meet. But I'm not here to delve into too much specifics about the sockets and the electrics in this house. I just know that it might be hidden away in the future. It's not meant to look pretty, it's just to serve a purpose. Anyways, we are going to be building our shelves today. But before we do that, today's video is brought to you by OrionWhittle.com. My merch, my clothes that everyone has been like really supporting. I genuinely do appreciate that. If you want to cop yours now, then make sure you check the link on the screen and go grab some. These are some examples of the stuff that I sell. We are going to be creating some more stuff in the future, and for those people who are supporting the merch and stuff like that, you directly support me and my family. It is all run by us. I do it all myself with Jess and for some help because I'm not that artistic, but if you can grab some, that I'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel, allows me to do things like this and making content for you guys. But right, the plan here is to add one shelf there, another one, and a top one there. So there's going to be 3 shelves, which means I need to cut some plywood to fit this gap. With a notebook and my laser measure, it is incredibly easy to get all the measurements that I need. This laser measure from Sigmund is really good. It comes with a USB-C charging port, so I don't have to actually keep changing batteries out, and it gives me a very accurate measurement for where the distance is between things. It's got lots of different settings on it, super handy. Just got it off Amazon. What I am going to be doing though is when I take my laser measurements, because it gives me an exact measurement from one side to the other, I'm going to be taking off a couple of mils so it's not a super tight squeeze. That's why you can see some gaps around the edge of the desk there, so it allows me to slot it in without, you know, tearing off the wall like I have there. But with all of my measurements done, let's go cut some plywood. And whilst it might not seem it with the sun out and the blue skies, it is actually freezing. So I've got my gloves on, I've got my jacket on. I need to cut all of these boards down twice because I'm going to have one for the top, which is the shelf that everything sits on, which is slightly thicker, and then another board that's going to go underneath that just to kind of hide it, and then, you know, I'm going to sandwich it. Very similar to how I've done the pantry as well as the desk. The desk is basically a glorified big shelf. So with all that being said, let's get this cut down.
Hit the horseshoe, see the chips grow. Got the old folks screaming out bingo. Call me Elvis, watch the hips go. Now my suit ain't pink, it's flamingo. Hey, you! Give me that real good, give me some more. Say, hey, you. Hands to the sky, baby. Living our best life, doing it right. Sipping on sunshine, taking our time. Living our best life, enjoying the ride. and then feeling alive. We living our best life. Living our best life. Best life. Put your shades on, kick your feet up. Sipping on a Cadillac margarita. Let the waves roll, let the stress go. So hot, baby, red coat fever. Hey, you, out on the floor. Give me that feel good, give me some more. Say, hey, you. Hands to the sky, baby. Living our best life, doing it right.
Well, it was going all smooth sailing until the final cut, where instead of cutting 572, I have cut 272. So this board is now, the cut is meant to be here, not here. Crap. It's not the end of the world because I made a cut of 272. The other board was only 30 centimeters short, so I've cut another board to 30 centimeters. So now I just have two boards. Fortunately, they're 18 mil thick. I actually opted for really thick boards because I figured if I put a suitcase up there or boxes of clothes or whatever I put on the top shelf, I wanted it to be able to be quite sturdy and hold a lot of weight. And from experience of doing the boot room and using these 6 shelves, they don't give at all. Like, that I can put so much stuff on them and I don't have to worry. So it's a bit annoying that it's not one clean sheet. But fortunately, it's not the end of the world. I might just have to use a couple more battens on the wall just to support it when it's up there. But we should be okay. Unfortunately, I didn't make the same mistake twice, so you won't actually be able to see the mistake I've made unless you're like above the shelf, which is highly unlikely because it's by the ceiling. This is the board that pins underneath. One clean cut. Now that I have all of my boards and shelves cut, I just need to cut the battens down to size to screw into the wall. Okay, I think I have completed my prep. It is time to go fit the shelves. The last thing I need to do is cut my fascias off, or the clean wood that's going to go on the front. Can't remember what it's called, but this. I'm going to do this last after I've got everything fitted into place. Which is going to take me quite a long time because there is tons of battens to screw into the wall. I've got my laser level out so I can keep a level line all the way up. You've also noticed I have taped a dust sheet in because the brick dust that comes out of the wall is really hard to get off of stuff, and to save myself some effort, I just tape that in. As I am working with solid brick walls, I don't need to worry about trying to find a stud in the wall. If you are using plasterboard walls, then you'll need to find a stud to screw into. But for me, I've got my good old hammer drill. I'm just going to drill in, stick some plugs in the wall. And the same process I use to build the very large shelf or desk. I'll be using my my marksman chalk to punch through the holes that I've pre-drilled in here to know where to drill. It's super easy, super simple. Probably the easiest way to put up shelves. Hopefully in the future, when I get like a router and other tools, I can actually make more like hidden shelves and things like that. But for the time being, this really works for me, and it's the quickest way to do this. All right, as I am in a bit of a confined space, it's quite difficult for me to film this, but I'll very quickly show what I'm going to do. So using my laser level, I will find where the level point is for this, like so. I'll double check with my actual level, and we're spot on there. Use my marksman tool, give it a shake, and then punch through that one. I leave some chalk marks on the wall. Then we use my hammer drill. Now we have our holes. Get a couple of plugs, pop those in there. Then I like to pre-screw in my battens. So the screw pokes out just a little bit, makes it much easier to find the plugs on the wall. And I just line it up. Then I back the screws off and then screw it. There we go. One solid batten in. Time to do the rest. Well, I've done my first shelf and made my first mistake, which is not surprising at this point. I completely forgot that I need to bring the battens forward and to be level with the shelf, and I haven't cut the battens to be the exact size to give me a bit of give. So yeah, gonna have to fix that later on. Is what it is. These things happen. It's why I shouldn't rush things. My mind is not with it today, I swear. But anyways, let's carry on doing them all the way up. I tried my best to film this, but I'm in an enclosed space, and if I put the camera here, I'm stood in the way. But there we have it. I have a top shelf here and 2 shelves inside. I was originally going to do 3, but as it turns out, because of the thickness of the shelves, if I added a 3rd one in, the shelf would be kind of redundant. So you kind of got the bottom here, 1 shelf there, 1 shelf there, and then a big one at the top. And then obviously there's going to be some space there. Later on, I'm actually going to put some shelves all the way up here as well. So there's so much storage. And when I asked Jess, you know, what height do you want your shelves? She's like, well, I don't even know what I'm going to put on them. So yeah, we just kind of made it up. This space at the top here is the same as the space at the bottom. Not that you can tell because the sheet's down. And the middle one's a little bit smaller. But now that we have everything in place, I just need to pin everything in. I've added this front beam across the front here because in the middle, when you put weight on it, it actually flexes in the middle. You can't really see too much on camera, but with a beam at the front and the beam at the back, I'm going to add one that goes straight across here, maybe even 2, and it'll just give it that better structure. All right, the next thing I need to do is pin the undersides using my nail gun, so let's get that done. I'm not entirely sure if this will go all in one go, because I had difficulty getting the desk in, so let's just try and hope. It's looking a bit of a tight squeeze, but I think we might be able to just about do it. I go all the way up at an angle like that. Okay, this is the top of my head last time. This is so annoying. I need this to be flush at the front, like that. Put that one in. Oh my god. How do I do this when the heating's on? And that is going nowhere. You know what I've just realised? Today is a day of making mistakes, I swear. I just had this whole segment where I talked about putting a beam across the middle for support. Well, I've just pinned this up, so there's no beam. He'll be fine. All in all, it's looking great. I just need to add the fascias to the front of the shelves and we should be good. I'm going to be using this smoothed, plain down timber, and it will literally just pin to the front and hide my sandwich. It just gives it a little bit nicer of a look. Now to test its sturdiness, which I don't need to do because I've been standing on this desk whilst building this shelf, so I know it's strong enough. But if I go under here and grab this quite heavy suitcase, it should, in theory, just go up there nicely. I don't know why I've done it that way with the handles the other way around, but ta-da! A working shelf. I've got more stuff to put up there, but for now, that'll do. I take it back. I didn't measure this, but unbelievably, that box fits perfectly. Has to go in completely square, but it fit. We could fit loads up there. I'm well happy with that. Right, before I tidy all of this up and hoover the dust, I want to fit this right here. I am really hoping my drill fits, but if I put this here, oh, there we go. Okay, well that didn't go nearly as well as I'd hoped. All right, let's try that one again, shall we? We're going to put this in here. This is very hard in a confined space. Okay, right. Okay, with that hole drilled, this should slot in nicely. He says, does that go in there? Oh, look at that. Snug like a bug. And then that will go in there later on. I just need to drill it from the other side. All right, now we have a hole that goes all the way up. I've also just realised it's not the last thing that's going to create dust. mounting this wall monitor mount is going to create dust because I need to screw it into the wall. So I'm going to do that now whilst I've got everything here. Now it's fairly self-explanatory, but the reason I've gone for a wall mount is so it clears up more desk room, and because I haven't got any clamps, or I can't fit a clamp to this desk because it's fitted, a wall mount right in the middle there should be perfect. It gives Jess 2 monitors and it's all tied away against the wall. Also comes with a handy guide. That'll make my life easier. However, the only 10mm bit I have is for my combi drill, not for my hammer drill. So this could take a while. Never mind. It's done. That was so easy. Literally got all the tools for the job. I can fit those monitors later. Currently they're set up in a lounge. Actually, I couldn't resist. And now I have a funny feeling I've bought the wrong mount. It's fairly universal in the sense that I can mount a monitor to it. However, as you can see, me looking straight forward, I can see the bracket, which makes me think when I add another one, there's going to be a big gap in the middle, which I don't like the idea of that. However, because of these wall mounts, obviously the arm can only go back so far, which means that when I have the other monitor here, it's going to be a bit of an odd angle. It's going to need some playing around with, I think, because as you can see, that's as far back as it can go because the monitor hits the wall. If the monitor was actually slightly larger, then it would fill that space there. But because this doesn't slide left and right, it's going to have to do. I don't know. When I actually get the computer and stuff in here, I'll play around with it until it gets to the right setting. And plus, Jess will have a mess around with it as well. But for the time being, it is all hooked up. I just need to tidy it because there is dust everywhere and all my tools are still out. So let's go do that. That is loads better. I've got a couple of plants out and Jess has put some books up there as well as the printer because I have utilised the top shelf for more storage. But all in all, the desk is mostly done. It is pretty much just dressing it up now. I need to sand this down, figure out what we're going to do, whether we stain it, paint it, put like some varnish on it and stuff like that so it's not so wood, plyboard, I guess. And then I need to figure out what to do about covering up the front. Whether I iron some stuff on, or just cut another piece of wood that slots on there, like the plain down timber that I have on everything else. Maybe we'll do that on the front. I'm not entirely sure yet. I need to figure it out. But once we build some drawers in there and get just his PC under there, add a couple of LED lights and stuff like that so she can see on a desk, I think we've done a pretty good job. If you have any suggestions or ideas of things that we could do here, maybe even more shelves above the monitors or like lighting or any other cool ideas, then let me know in the comments down below. But that is going to do it for today's video. So thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Shout out to all of the Patreon members that have been supporting me over there and helped me every step along the way to do things like this. I really do appreciate it, and everyone else who is repping the merch as well. I'm also going to shout out to the YouTube members. People have become a member on the channel and have been members pretty much since I started vlogging. And I'm going to start shouting you guys out alongside all the people that support if you're on Patreon, because it's probably a lot easier to become a member on here than it is to go to Patreon and then do more things there. So yeah, big shout out to you guys. I really do appreciate it. But as always, guys, it's been Orion. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. But peace, much love. Bye-bye. It is incredibly easy to determine the size of this. I actually was 30 centimeters. However, the only 10mm bit literally got all the... 5, 7, 6. Ah, you...